In this lesson, we're going to continue detailing out the cylinder. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this topology on the other side of the cylinder. Now before we do that, I want to create one more loop around the edge over the top of the bullet holes themselves. And this is going to be important whenever we start adding in the indentation between the holes for the bullets themselves. So to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Edge Mode, and let's just select this edge and hit Ring, and then I'm going to use Connect. Okay, now that's going to go all the way around. It doesn't appear to be going all the way through. So what that means is that we have a couple of vertices that are not connected properly. So it should be quads all the way through, but it's not getting all the way there. And so sometimes we have vertices that are overlapping. So to do this, let's just check under X view and let's do overlapping vertices. Let's update that, and we do have a couple here, so let's select around that. Let's right click and weld, update again. We have some right here, weld that, and then one more update, and it's right here. Okay, so now let's try that one more time. Let's go to Edge Mode, select that edge and hit Ring. Notice that goes all the way around now, and let's hit Connect. All right, and that creates an edge all the way around that. All right, perfect. So now that that has been set, let's go ahead and get the other side. So I'm going to select this edge and hit Ring. Let's also use Connect again. Okay. Let's make sure, though, let's go to our settings. Let's make sure that it says one segment and then 0 and 0. Okay. Let's take the polygons on the back side of that, select those and delete. Then let's go back to Edge Mode. With these edges selected along the center, let's go to Symmetry, and let's apply that modifier. And let's go into the Z direction. We may have to go ahead and flip that, so let's hit Flip, so that way we get both sides again, and then convert it to Editable Poly. Then go to Edge Mode, and with that edge in the center still selected, let's hit Control and Backspace to get rid of that. Great. Now what I want to do is I want to get the holes cut out. So let's go ahead and go to Polygon Mode, select this polygon, and then go to Modify Selection Similar. And that's going to select similar polygons. Now it doesn't work all the way through sometimes, so you may have to just hold down Control and get the rest of those. Okay. And now let's go ahead and go to Border Mode, select all those borders, and simply hit Bridge. Okay, and that's going to connect those polygons together. Great. All right, so now with that, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and get at the indentions that we see in our cylinder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to Polygon Mode. I'm going to select those polygons around the edge. Okay. Should have 6 of those selected. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to inset that. Now before I do that, I don't want to inset all the way out from the edge. I want to make a cut on that. So let's go ahead and turn off isolation mode. And we want to make a cut right where the edge of that indentation should be. So let's go ahead and go to Edit and Swift Loop, and you can go to your left view. If you hit Alt-X, you might be able to see the image, but I can't really see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off Polygon Mode. Try that one more time. And let's just go to Move, pull that down. It looks like right about here. So I'm going to hit Control-Z, so right about there. Let's go ahead and edit and use Swift Loop. And you may have to move the point where you're going to cut that, so that way it cuts around the edge, not on the inside of one of those cylinders that we've created. Now let's go back to Polygon Mode and deselect those edges along the back side, or those polygons on the back side, I should say. Let's hit Alt-X to bring that back, and let's isolate that. And now let's use Inset on this. So I'm going to do Inset. That's going to create a polygon on the inside of another polygon. Let's do something like 0.1. Probably be a good value for us. You know, actually, let's go a little bit higher on that. Let's go to something like maybe 0.25. Because what's going to happen is we're going to push that down into the cylinder. And you know, let's do 0.1 on that, because it's going to be, let's try 0.2. For some reason 0.2 doesn't like to work. Okay, let's try this again. Let's do inset. I just want to make sure that I have just those selected. I'm not doing any extra insets or anything. Okay, try that. Let's do 0.2. There we go. And hit OK on that. All right, now with these polygons selected, let's go ahead and convert our vertex selection. So hold down Control and go to Vertex. And then we're going to use our Scale tool, and we're going to scale that in. And that's going to start creating those indentions that we need there. Now these should not be very deep. Okay, we don't want that to take precedence. Okay, not deep at all. Let's hit OK on this, and let's go to polygon mode. I want to get rid of these polygons here because it needs to be flush with the cylinder again. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select those all the way around. Okay. We could go ahead and do modify select similar if we wanted to, but it's no guarantee that it's going to get all of those. Okay, and let's simply hit delete. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reattach that. So a great way of doing that is just to go to vertex mode, right click, and target weld this point back to the corner here. And that's going to bring that indention back in there. Okay, great. And let's go ahead and continue that all the way around. And then whenever we smooth this, you'll see how this turns out here. Now we'll have to come in, whenever we smooth it, we'll have to come in and start adding in some loops to retain volume, try to get the shape that we want. But at this point we're just adding in that detail, trying to get exactly what we want out of the cylinder. Okay, so there we go, we've got that. Now with all of those vertices selected, they should still be selected there. I just want the ones on the front edge. Okay, so I'm going to hold down Alt and deselect the ones on the back. Okay, and what this is going to allow me to do is go ahead and scale those back out. Now by trying to scale those back out, it's going to push those in. And so what I'm going to do instead is, let's go ahead and just select each one individually, and let's turn on the constrain to edge and just constrain that in the X direction. Just kind of pull that out. And notice that it kind of brings that flare back out there. Now the problem with doing this is it's not going to be exact every time, but it's the best solution that we have in this case. Okay, so I'm just trying to even that out, trying to bring those vertices back out straight again with these pieces here. Okay. And then we've got this one, and then one more. There we go. All right, great. So now that we have that, let's come in and let's take a look at how it's going to smooth. Just to do a quick look at this, we're not going to finalize this just yet. I'm just wanting to see what we have to work with. So obviously we're going to have to harden up that outside edge there. We may have to deal with some of the cylinder actually not being round any longer. Just trying to get an idea of how that looks there and how we're going to deal with that. But all in all, it looks okay from this standpoint. Okay, obviously it looks very blobby still, but we're going to get that that volume back. Now before we do that, let's go ahead and turn off our Turbo Smooth. Let's just delete that. Before we do that, we need to create some extra details really quickly. And these details are going to be these little notches, okay, that are going to be right here. And we need to put that in before we start adding in lots and lots of detail, okay, especially when we start trying to get that high poly look again. So let's make sure that we block that in, and then we'll start that next, and then we'll start to really smooth this out and get it finalized.